or yeah, okay. Hello guys. Been a while, hasn't it? Yep. So today we're gonna be doing the Alternative Futures World episode 3. Now we're not gonna be touching the Alliance map in this one. This is gonna be a one event episode, but this is gonna be a very big event involving the East African Federation and a bunch of other countries. So recently the East African Federation has been kind of chilling, like mainly just focusing on rebuilding, like fixing the country up, like basically improving life quality. But they've also been improving their relation with Ethiopia a lot. Now if you don't know, South Sudan and Kenya have a really good relation with Ethiopia. So I don't think, I would say that Ethiopia's relation with the East African Federation would mostly stay the same. Now, in case you don't know, Egypt also has some tension with Ethiopia, like something with the Nile River or something. I'm not entirely sure. Now, it's unlikely that this will actually break out into a full my Alternative Futures World, it breaks out into a war. Egypt declares war on Ethiopia. And Sudan also decides to join the war, ignoring their whole dispute with Egypt, just to kind of let Egypt get their troops through, and also because East African Federation joined the war and Sudan wants that sweet South Sudan back. With Ethiopia in the war, we will also have Somalia join the war, as well as Eritrea. Djibouti probably would join the war, but they decided to stay neutral for now. Oh shoot, wrong thing. We can... is this gonna load, or... For God's sake, why does it always do this? Oh my god. That was straight line. So, we immediately have Somaliland breaking away from Somalia, and well, Somalia doesn't exactly have a good military nor an actual good government, so Ethiopia and the East African Federation take advantage of that, and as well as Somaliland, and it's basically just a steamroll. Ethiopia captures the capital, and bye. So that's one country out of the war. On the red side, we do have some gains, as Eritrea makes a small offensive into Ethiopia, and Sudan also makes a small offensive into East African Federation. But this also comes at a cost, since Ethiopian troops are now coming up to Eritrea and cut off their tail thing, but don't capture it just yet. Well, they basically get to there, but they don't fully capture it. We also, what time am I at? Okay, we also have the East African Federation launching a pretty major offensive into Sudan, but they stop here because a little incident goes off in this place, DRC. So, remember from episode 2 where I said that most of the DRC voted in favor of joining the East African Federation. There was quite a chunk that didn't want to join, and there's still a lot that don't want to be a part of it. Don't ask why there were a bunch of Egyptian Sudanese funding going on to this place. There's definitely not a war of independence going on. Yep. This is totally unrealistic, but I don't care. I never care, because I don't care about realism. There's literally never been a hint of realism in any of my videos. Like, the most realism I've ever put into this was never. So yeah, it goes pretty well at first, which leads East African Federation to need to remove their troops from Sudan. But it also gives them time to push back the Congo DRC rebels. But they respond to this by simply wrong color, pushing up the border of the Republic of the Congo. Don't ask how they're doing so well. Egypt definitely isn't funding them, like definitely we promise. Ethiopia basically says to the East African Federation, deal with your DRC problem, we'll deal with them. And deal with them they do, because they push out a trail. And since... let's just say some stuff goes on in the trail, like 70% of the trail's population just suddenly vanished. And Ethiopia definitely didn't do anything, we promise. Yeah. But this gives Ethiopia a chance to, push out into Sudan, but eventually stop. And it's also, and with now basically all of the East African Federation military over here, only a small amount defending over here. The DRC rebels get pushed back a ton. However, they realize that this flank along here is pretty unguarded, so they push along the border of Angola, but they don't really have much interest over here, so they kind of just hold the defense and mainly focus over here. Eventually, I'm running out of ideas. Eventually the issue in Sudan, like their paramilitary forces like kind of fighting their own military, kind of leads to the military just kind of falling. Yep, and that happened. Which was basically a full retreat out of the East African Federation. The East African Federation using some of their troops relaunches into the Sudanese offensive. I am definitely calling them the wrong things. And Sudan kind of starts to crumble. Obviously they do manage to make some counter-offensives, but since their military is kind of in shambles right now, it ain't working too much. They mainly focus on the Nile River and the coast. They managed to capture about this much coastline and continue their offensive over the Nile River, which is around here. And they basically kind of stop here as the issue with the DRC is becoming a bit more of a problem. Ethiopia decides that if the war is going to end, it will end now, and basically does a massive conscription and gets like 300,000 more people into the military. Insanely unrealistic, but I don't care. And they complete their offensive along the Nile River and cut off Sudan from the coast. And so they launch a major offensive trying to cut off Sudan from Egypt, but they fail as Egypt just manages to push back now. But at this point, Sudan has lost all of their populated areas. That part basically has, this part that I just colored in blue has absolutely no one there, so they just captured it. And there's some cities along here, but not much. Eventually the war reaches some what? What did I just say? Reaches some kind of stalemate, like no sides can make any gains, like there's just way too much land to deal with in way too many countries, so they eventually decide on a peace treaty. But now I'm going to quickly go over this peace treaty as I didn't have much time. So you have the DRC gaining full independence from the East African Federation. We have Somaliland gaining full independence and the rest of Somalia being split up, finally giving Ethiopia a coastline. Eritrea is absolutely destroyed and loses a lot of their land, and it's actually later causes them to join Sudan. Sudan loses quite a bit of land, but they also gain some in South Sudan, and Egypt is mainly left alone. Alright, now I did say I wouldn't touch the alliance map in this video, but I decided to. So I kind of updated the map, but not much. I will actually eventually fully update it, but someday. So, the war, like, let's say, the Horn of Africa War, that's the best name I can come up with. But took a huge blow on, like, all the countries involved in it. So we have TATO, the African Defensive Organization, forming with the East African Federation and Ethiopia as its founding members. We also have Somaliland joining the war. I mean, the TATO, and that's all we really have joining the alliance so far. It's basically like a mix between a military alliance and a economic alliance, basically. But that's really all we will be doing with the alliance map in this video. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Have a good day.